Hello and welcome back to the Aapna Reds podcast, a podcast where we give you everything that you can expect from a normal podcast talking about Liverpool, but with the added Punjabi bump and Punjabi power that you won't get anywhere else. And that, as always, is provided by myself and provided by Anil. Anil, how you doing this week?
Good day, Monday. All good, man. All good.
Happy? How you feeling after this weekend's fixture?
Yeah, man.
It was
I think,
a point earned or 2 points dropped?
definitely a point earned, especially after Haaland scored that record-breaking 50th goal. But yeah, man, I think you've got to, considering what their record was before we turned up. What was it? They had an unbeaten, well, not unbeaten, sorry. They had a win streak of about 700 games, didn't they? Something like that. They haven't lost since the 1950s. And what is it? 20? Was it 23 games?
Yeah, 23 games. I think it was perfect streak.
Perfect streak, man. So it had to be Liverpool, didn't it? It had to be Liverpool the ones to break that streak. So I'm happy with the performance. A few dodgy points we'll get to, but you got to take a point away at City. You have to be positive from that. So I suppose that's a positive start from. What do you reckon?
Definitely. I think for me, we talked about it before, that this is the game of the season where if you lose, you just can't afford to. You know, we've been talking about it for God knows how many seasons now. These are the games where you have to get a result or prevent the other team from getting a result. And I think Liverpool just about managed to do that. Obviously, you know, we know what happened at their place last season. We know everything that's happened in the past few seasons against City. And I think this was the one where we just had to get a result. In terms of the performance, you know, we'll go into it straight away, definitely. But it just wasn't typical to what I was expecting us to sort of come back with, especially, obviously, we know 12:30 international breaks, having a great impact, as always, on our performances. But I just thought we were a lot more under par than what we normally are at these half-12 kickoffs. I don't know what you thought about that.
I think it's a difficult one to gauge, isn't it? Especially playing City, because City are so good at what they do.
Yeah.
They obviously, like I said, playing at home with that wicked record, they annihilate teams. And before you know it, they get a goal and the second one comes and you just can't make yourself, pick yourself back up. Against a team like City who dominate possession, it's hard to get back into a game when you go behind. So, with that goal, when we went behind, there were a few moments and a few times where I thought, oh, here we go. What's going to happen here? But considering, like you said, it was a 12:30 kickoff after an international break, you got to take the positives, haven't you? You have to take the positives, man. I mean, Arsenal obviously go top after their win, but you can see Arsenal dropping points. Yeah. You can't see City dropping points. So keeping in touch with them and trying to keep them arm's length and making sure they don't go too far ahead is always a positive. So, we're still a point behind them. We're still in the run. I don't think we're going to win the league, but being there and challenging is good enough for now. You can't complain with where we are.
Definitely. I think it's one of those things that we mentioned before as well, that you have to be in and around there. You can't let them run away with it if you want a chance to be anywhere near the end of the season. I think that's the main focus. And I think that seemed to be Klopp's main focus as well in terms of the lineup. When I looked at it, it seemed like he had on one thing on his mind, and that was to sit back and then counter-attack as well and just try and keep City as bay as long as possible. And I think that was a case in terms of lineup when he adds Jones in, because for me, a lineup where Curtis Jones is in there tells me that he wants to keep the ball and hope to break on the counter-attack.
Yeah, press as well. Yeah.
That's clearly what they want to do. And for me, I was quite surprised. We talked about that midfield, Max, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch as the three in midfield, which was the job done. And in the biggest game of the season so far, I'd argue, it was quite a surprise to me that Gravenberch didn't start. I don't know if there was an injury issue, but obviously he comes on later on in the game and plays absolutely changed the game. So what did you make of that? Because for me, I think that was a big thing, and I could tell the impact that had on the team straight away.
The only thing I could think is he's not 100% match fit.
Mm-hmm.
He's not played many games last season. He's come into a new team, new system, playing out of his skin though. But can he put that performance in for 90 minutes? And if you look at the games where he started, again, he starts well, but then he starts drifting off, and you think maybe that match fitness is where he's struggling. So bringing him on when he did masterstroke, he was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. He was the reason we got that second goal as well, like that little run that he did down the left. He is a player, man, that I cannot wait until he becomes like a first team machine. I think that's all it is. I think we just need a bit more, match fitness from him.
Yeah.
His fitness, you know what I mean? He's around people like Trent and Mo Salah, uh, Van Dijk. These are like machines, aren't they? When they train, their stamina is never in question. If we can get Gravenberch to that level, man, what a bargain he's going to end up being.
Definitely.
But absolutely amazing signing, man. I'll be
Yeah.
honest, I didn't know much about him. I knew about him, obviously, but
Yeah.
until obviously they start playing for your team, you don't watch them as carefully as you do, in highlights. Highlights show everyone's best bits, but when you start watching, the full time that they're on the pitch for, and you watch how they play and how they change and how Man City changed as well, because they couldn't handle him either. But yeah, man, one for the future. Hopefully not too far in the future.
Hopefully not too far. Definitely, I think Klopp clearly trusts him. Bringing him on in a game like that. I think I agree with you there that maybe it was a case of match fitness, also not wanting to throw him into the deep end almost in the big game. But a man who we normally can rely on when it comes to the deep end of games, and Mr. Reliable, the Brazilian Jack. I don't know whether he'd been having too much whiskey, too much risky on.
Took him out for too many mixed grills, mate. That's what it was.
I don't know what it was, but when it came to the game this weekend,
man,
all over the place. The man
was comical.
It was comical. But I think it's something that always happens against City. I mean, I can remember 2-3 seasons ago where he just kept passing the ball to Foden and just giving him goals, and waiting for that.
There was a couple of those this game as well, wasn't there? There were a couple of goals. Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe he wants to play for them, and in his brain he's thinking, oh, crap, they're not my team, and just completely forgets. But
I think he just gets bored, and he just goes, you know what, I'm going to pass it to them so they can
do
a shot at me, because otherwise he just stands there for most of the game, just looking pretty, you know what I mean? So,
he got a hand on Haaland's goal.
Yeah, I know.
He could have saved that. He got pushed in the back. Let's put inverted commas around that, for the disallowed goal.
Yeah.
Kicked the ball to, was it Foden? He kicked
early
the ball early on. I mean, man, he had the chance where Haaland almost tackled him on the goal line when was it Curtis that passed it back to him?
Curtis.
There was some dodgy decisions, man. When you think about how much we got away with because of him, you take a point all day long, man. You take a point. But Mr. Reliable, yeah, man, something happened, hungover or something.
Yeah.
But maybe he was struggling with that travel from Brazil, you know what I mean?
And we've always mentioned this is the amount of travel that these guys have to do, especially when they aren't even playing or they don't even get the number one spots, especially in Alisson's case, it's a lot of traveling, especially with the South Americans, everything going on. I think it started to show, and maybe it's shown now. Obviously, he picks up an injury. Not much has come out about the injury.
I was going to say, what's the story? Is it?
People are saying that he's out for 5 weeks. Some people are saying he's fine. Others are saying everything else, but no one's officially stated anything. And the only thing Klopp said is they're waiting for a scan. But it's one of those things where ideally in this big stretch of games where we play Arsenal, Man United, and Fulham, Palace, games like that where you need your goalkeeper. It's what we need. But in the case of Kelleher coming in, do you think he'll be able to fill in the job, or do you think he's just a bit too far to step down?
I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Alisson.
Yeah,
he is a good keeper, but the amount of points Alisson saves us in terms of just the one-on-ones that he just eats up for joke. Kelleher hasn't got that. He's got a shot stopping in him. So he'll be able to, be a good keeper, a traditional goalkeeper. But Alisson's not traditional, is he? He's like a beast, proper beast. And I don't think there's anyone in the Premiership like him. He's a one-off. So yeah, that will be a big, massive blow. The only upside is obviously Van Dijk's playing well.
Yeah,
Matip played well with him as well. He had a good game. So. Will we really need our keeper to be as good as Alisson? I mean, to be fair, Kelleher probably would have been better in this game anyway. Probably should have rotated the goalkeeper.
maybe
You would
maybe
have saved
Andrew
that
Anthony
Haaland.
got
You would have saved the Haaland shot. I'll tell you that now.
a
You would have saved the Haaland shot.
But I think looking forward as well, with the games in the Europa League and different cup competitions, what becomes of the goalkeeper situation, and then
We'll
because
play Kelleher in that anyway. I think
yeah,
he likes to rotate the goalkeeper then,
yeah,
so we
yeah,
don't have to worry too much about. And to be fair, I'd be quite happy with him playing against Fulham. It's
yeah,
just when we start getting to the big games and the ones
yeah,
where it matters, that's when you need to start worrying about who's going to be in goal. But I'd quite happily put Kelleher in goal for the next 2 games, quite comfortably, and I'd be happy with that as well. I'm
yeah.
hoping it's just a bit of cramp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. That's the last thing we need at this point. But
I'm sure at one point the camera was pointing towards him and he was talking to either Trent or someone. I'm sure I heard him say cramp. I'm sure I heard him say
you've heard
cramp.
it first. If he comes out saying it was cramp, then we know that it was you that was listening clearly to it all.
Unless Brazilian translation for cramp means something completely different.
We'll have to get on Google Translate and find out and check.
Yeah. Or maybe he was thinking about mixed rolls and he's like, "This, oh man, I ain't going for crabs this week. They're not gonna get me. They're not gonna get me no crabs."
We'll have to wait and find out, I suppose. So before we talk about Trent's goal and the equaliser that we get, I think it's worth talking about City because a lot's been made about City in the past few years. Obviously, there's a lot been made of them this season, but I was a bit unimpressed by them. I must say, I think this City team isn't the same City team that we've seen in the past few seasons. Missing De Bruyne, obviously, it's someone who's just absolutely incredible for them with that amazing quality, and they still have that depth and ability. But the football that they play is nowhere near, the fear of City that I've had in the past few years. It just seemed like they were almost just toying with us, and they got to a point where they just didn't capitalise on it, and then Liverpool go and get the equaliser. But I don't know about you, but it just didn't seem like a City team that really are firing on all cylinders.
They're not though, but the problem with that is, when De Bruyne is back, when the Christmas period comes, their philosophy of football and how they keep the ball and how they pass and how they just annihilate teams will all come good.
Yeah.
Whereas teams like Liverpool, Arsenal tend to drop points when there's too many games. City, their depth, their squad depth, their replacement players that come on the pitch is just ridiculous. So, yeah, they're not firing, but they're still 2 points off the top of the table. That's with them playing really bad by their own standards. They're not playing bad, but they're playing bad by their own standards, and that just shows you how good of a team they are, which is a bit annoying. But what can you do? What can you do? As long as we're staying in touch at this stage, you can't ask for any more.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, all it takes is them to drop 1 point. I mean, drop a couple of points, and then Arsenal to drop a couple of points, and we're top of the table.
We've seen this season, probably more so than we've seen in other seasons gone past. But Spurs dropped points as well this weekend.
Spurs were never going to be at the top, man. Especially after that Chelsea game, all those sending offs and flipping injuries. Yeah. They were always going to drop points, and they were never going to stay top. It was just a bit of a bump for the start of the season with the new manager. You know what I mean?
Was Bud the laugh or the cheating that they did with the Lewis Diaz?
Well, this is it, man. It all comes down. I think this is why Klopp was not too bothered in the end, because at the end of the day, if we had that point, if we had 1 point, if we had the draw, it wouldn't have made a massive difference. We still would have been where we were roughly.
Yeah.
So it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't made a massive difference. But we do need to get, I think we still need to get a consistent 11 that are performing 60, 70 minutes bang on. So then the last 30 minutes or so, you can bring a couple of players on just to shut up shop. And that's how we need to play. I think we need to get that consistent 11 that are just top draw without injuries and without Alisson.
I think it's a bit kind of what we've had in the past, I suppose. And I think we're missing that this season, even though we've got the quality in players. We just don't seem to have the ability to almost kill the game for 70 minutes and then be able to,
Just on the Alisson thing, do you think we play back to him too much?
I think they're comfortable with playing back to him. That's the thing, though. It's one of the things where it's always been a case of give it back to him because he is so good with his feet, and he's also.
I watch these games, and he is good with his feet. And don't get me wrong, I use him when you can. But sometimes I see passes coming from the halfway line all the way back to Alisson, and then you just you see the shift of the other team just come towards him, and you think, why are you bringing that pressure on yourself? When you
But I
got
think that's the reason why they do it, though, is so that they can give room for the wingers to run in behind. Because if you think half the time, it then ends up with him either passing it out to Van Dijk, who plays it forward, or him putting it over the top to the fullback. So I think
yeah, that hasn't been happening though, has it? I can
not
see
this
what
season,
you're saying. You bring the players out and then you basically you create more spaces, but it doesn't seem to be happening. And it
no.
just seems to be bringing more pressure on him. And I think he's a bit too comfortable on the ball
Yeah.
to the point where sometimes you're like, yo, just pass it out, man. What are you doing? Just give it back.
Can't go get a pint of milk whilst he's got the ball at his feet.
Yeah, man. He's standing on the ball, looking at his watch, like, oh, when's the next player gonna come? You know what I mean? But yeah, joking aside, I think, yeah, I can see it from both points. Creating spaces probably makes sense, passing it back to him, but sometimes I just think, why have you gone all the way back there, man?
I do agree, though. We have a really bad tendency to just either pass sideways or pass backwards sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that causes, especially in games, like the Luton game, for example, when we have the ball and we have to do something with it, we spend so much of the game just passing it backwards or sideways with no pace, and it just makes things so much easier for everyone that you're playing against. And I think that is something that probably a season, 2 seasons ago, where that they'd really worked on that, and it seemed like they stopped sort of just holding on to the ball, and it was quick passes and just turn of pace. But it seems to have sort of crept back in. I don't know whether that's because the players are still getting used to each other or whether that's just the play style now. But I do agree with you. There's a lot of backwards and sideways passes, which can have a bad effect sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, the Gravenberg, running through players and creating chances. I like that avenue.
Yeah.
Matip coming from defence and running past about 5 defenders.
Then falling over it.
I'm telling you what, man, he does that so often, but just doesn't have the final product. If he had Trent's ability to pass the ball, he would be the world's greatest centre back, attacking centre back, if that's even a thing. The geezer glides through players like it's a joke. But I think that I do like that. I like Gravenberg's different approach, because for so long now, all we seem to be doing is looking for that final pass, looking for Mo, looking for Nunes. But it just doesn't quite work. And then Gravenberg does that one little switch up, runs past a couple of players, and it just changes the whole shape of their team, because then they were like, oh, hang on. They've got their version of Doku on the left over here. We need to calm down, because you look at what Doku did to our team, man. Absolutely. That Nicola Gacy, man. All of our defenders were literally like watching him like a hawk.
Yeah. And we knew that before going into it. We knew that was going to be the matchup. We knew that was going to be dangerous. And I think, we mentioned off air about, Trent being dribbled past most times, I think 7 times. It almost felt like he knew that was going to happen. He didn't try and fight. He just let it occur. And he just kept sort of being helped out either by the midfielders or the defenders. And I don't know, it probably worked out best for Liverpool. And I wonder if that's something that they look at going forward, instead of having him engage and having him sort of deal with these one-on-ones, whether he just goes, okay, you can win your one-on-one, but I'm not going to let you put anything into the box, or I'm not going to let you sort of, advance past that. Because as you all know...
They normally do that, don't they, with Canate?
Yeah.
Was he on the bench? Was he injured?
He was on the bench. That's what, again, another selection that he was... Canate in the past few weeks hasn't seemed to sort of be near the starting lineup when it comes to it. Again,
he would have annihilated Doku compared to
a few injuries and things like that. So you never know that's with him. But if anyone says that Canate is fit, he needs to be in the team sheet, because he's
don't you think he would have ate up every Doku chance?
Definitely. And I think that's probably what Trent needed that game, was that recovery pace behind him. In case of everything that happened. But
he's a nifty little player, though, any Doku, man.
He is.
Twisting and turning. It's hard. It is hard. It is hard. In this day and age, a player like a Premiership defender should not be twisted and turned the way that he makes them turn, man. He's something else.
But who needs to defend when you can go on and score and equalise and then go and shush the Man City fans at the end of it? I honestly, whilst watching the game, I thought that there was no chance Liverpool were going to score. As the belief remains high, I just did not see us, one, getting a shot on target, or 2, even getting anywhere close to a goal. But Trent Alexander-Arnold pops up with a beautiful finish. Reminded me of the goal he scored against Leicester a few years ago, where he just pops up and buries it, and the celebrations go with it. What did you make of the goal? Because for me, I think that one will probably go down in the history book somewhere for Liverpool as as Trent Alexander-Arnold was one of his finest.
I think that goal was like whatever Haaland can do, I can do better. Because Haaland's goal was a one-touch, set up, bang. But keeper got a hand to it. Nah, Trent, that one touch, and literally the shot was within a split second after the touch, and you think that was... He's got that in his locker, and this is why I don't understand why we still rely on him as a right-back. Why not bring him in the middle constantly or consistently or permanently, whatever word you want to use? Get a right back. Get a right back. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be a right back, traditional right back that sits back. We can go buy a right back that does what Trent does, but just allow Trent to go in the midfield and do what he does best, because he is wasted in right back and he brings on too much pressure. But yeah, man, you can't take anything away from his goal. Cannot take anything away from that goal. Absolute class. Celebration to match as well.
Indeed. Another Salah assist as well. Salah, even when he's not scoring, still helps out and lends a hand. And he
had a quiet game though, didn't he?
He did have a very quiet game. So Nunes, we haven't even mentioned Nana Nunes at the moment.
Nah, he had a few chances, man. Don't start on my boy Nana.
We'll talk about Jota then. Leave Jota out of it, because I don't think I heard his name mentioned once in the game.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, I don't know. They've got a good defense though.
Yeah,
they've got a good defense, so you've got to give it to them. They did keep our front pretty quiet. Nunes still had some chances though. Yeah, man. Which one was it? There was one. I'm sure there was one sitter, man.
He had a few headed chances. There was a few where he just had snapshots, and I just think a bit of composure, just a touch or just across the goalie instead of just trying to whack it.
That was the one, wasn't it? He took too long to control the ball. He had a similar kind of chance to Haaland, but the commentators mentioned it as well. They're like, "Well, here you go. This is why Haaland scores, and this is why Nunes is struggling a bit, because he took one too many touches, didn't he?"
He did, but it doesn't matter in the end, because we get the point. I think we were happy with. But do you reckon they needed Jabir this week? Then is there anyone you think mine deserves?
100%.
Oh,
100%. Becker's gonna get one today, mate.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't blame you, but I'm not going to watch. I stand outside the dressing room. I can't see it.
He had a shocker of a game, man. He needs a Jabir just to wake him up and say, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing?" Not more of a "you're a shit player," more of a "listen, wake up, man, wake up. You are good, but you need to think about it rather than just expecting it to be natural."
I can agree with that one there, but I might have to be a bit gentler with him, to be honest with you. I think as well, the midfield just wasn't cutting up to standard to what we've seen him in the past few weeks. McAllister, don't know what it is, but he's really getting on my nerves at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I think there was the Doku chance or where he just ran right past him, and I could just see McAllister, and I was praying he just didn't snap him. But it just seems like he doesn't have that turn of pace, but he doesn't have that ability to judge where players are going to go or what they're going to do. And in that, really struggled. He was clear in that game.
This is where a Caicedo style number 6 would have caught up with Doku and maybe given him something to think about. Whereas McAllister was like, "Come here, mate.
Yeah. Go on, I'll leave you see it a bit."
Like I said, he hasn't got that pace. He's not a natural number 6. He's been asked to do a number 6 role. I heard Klopp talking about he's not using him as a traditional number 6, but he's using him as a 6 as well as other people helping him out. He wants this idea that you don't rely on one player.
Yeah.
You rely on the team, which only works if the rest of the team were anywhere to be fucking seen. Yeah. But you know what I mean? They were too busy in the midfield, hands on hips. We do need, and you know what? We got flipping links to Sané. I'm like, why we got links to Sané? Get links to Andre, man. We need a traditional number 6. As much as Klopp doesn't want to go down that road, it's obvious. It's obvious to see that we need someone who reads the game defensively.
Yeah,
McAllister is not that player. It works against smaller teams, but you know what I mean. I think he got exposed against City.
Yeah,
Szoboszlai as well, man.
Yeah, that was my next pair.
Man, he's starting to get on my nerves because he started off so well.
Yeah,
and again, I think he believed his own hype in it.
Just looks a bit leggy, but I think it's the games and the international ones.
Too many,
every single, I mean, the goal that they score, Ake, Yeah, you might as well. He just said, just again, just go do what you want. Just none of them wanted to touch him,
That's
and
what I mean, man. I
put
think you know what, we've had so many sendings off. I think they're all just scared to put tackles in.
yeah, it's part of it, the fear. No one wants to put challenge in, but it just
messed up our season a bit.
wasn't the vibe that we were hoping for when it came to the situation like that. So I think they need a little reminder this week, because as happy as I am with a point, there was a poor performance in my eyes.
Yeah, that I know we keep mentioning it, and it sounds like we're just moaning all the time. But that 12:30 kickoff, man, it can't be a good time to play. It can't be that first. It's not first thing in the morning, but it's first. The first thing you do when you wake up is literally start traveling to go to the game. So there's no chance to like wake up, sort yourself out, proper sort, just sort yourself in the morning, have a nice relaxed cup of coffee, watch a bit of TV. There's none of that, because you got to get up and get straight to the game. So there's got to be some psychological effect of playing that early.
Yeah.
The fact that it was after the international game, less time to recover. I know Klopp again mentions that from the outside, we don't think there's a massive difference between playing at 12:30 and 3:00, but that extra couple of hours is a lot, man.
It is.
Think about anything that you do in life. If you got an extra couple of hours before you got to do it, you're chilling, you get more relaxed, you get, your brain in the right frame of mind. So these 12:30 ones are really starting to piss me off, man.
They are. And thankfully, we've got another 12:30 in a week. At 2:00 this weekend, but back to the 12:30s again. So they just.
Is it 2:00?
This weekend against Fulham, it's 2:00 on a Sunday.
What? Oh, Sunday. Oh, no wonder.
On a Saturday,
time is 2:00.
No, 2:00 on Sunday, but then the week after, 12:30 against Palace on a Saturday.
Is it Super Sunday, or is it a dodgy game that we'll have to watch?
It's a dodgy. Yeah, we won't mention the dodgy box usage on in case they're listening.
Oh, no, we don't do that. We don't do that.
We pay. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
I get someone in India with a WhatsApp to give me a call, and they watch it on a live stream. Star TV, Star
Sports. They're gonna have to do it, because we need to make sure that we're there supporting the boys. They need us. But what about Mixed Grill then? Who are you taking this week? Because I think it might have to be one man this week. I think we've never really mentioned or considered taking out, but I think we might have to join up forces and take him out together this week.
Yeah, man. Trent,
definitely Trent.
100%.
He looks like he could do with a bit of meat as well. He could do with a bit of mass, and I think that.
You remember when he first started, though? Do you remember when he first started? Oh my God, man! I looked at him thinking, you got no chance of playing in this team. He's a proper little dundee.
Maybe he has been eating Mixed Grill secretly. You never know. I want to know what he has been eating, because then we can go and take him for that food instead if he's not a Mixed Grill.
Who's been taking him for a Mixed Grill? To be fair, he has been consistently good. We just need to maybe take him to a defensive coach as well as a Mixed Grill man, because he needs to learn.
We can just give him some, make him do some drills, and then give him some masala chips, and then make him do drills, give him a kebab, and just like that. Eventually, once he's finished his dinner, he'll be the best right back in the world, more so than he already is.
You know what, though? I mean, joking aside, the fact that he has put on a bit of mass and he's got a bit more muscly, he's got stronger, but he's got slower, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because he was a lot faster when he first started, or he seemed a lot faster.
He seems a lot more nimble, though, I must say. Even though he's a bit slow, he just seems a lot more like flight, I think, because for that goal, he had to sort of adjust his body quite fast.
He
like balanced quite well, which normally he's just taking like pot shots that go sky high miles away, but very controlled in that environment. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a trade-off between the two, but I think he seems a lot more sort of nifty.
He's definitely traded off some speed. But yeah, you're right. His touch and control have probably improved.
Yeah.
And then he needs to. He could be like a Gerrard style out of the box shooting player, but every time, like you said, he shoots, man, he just goes sky high. He's like aiming for Roy Keane in the box or something.
He might. Maybe that's what it is. He's upset with the pundit, so he just tries to.
Did you hear his interview after?
Yeah, I heard. There's not too many people happy about his comments in the interviews either. So,
oh man, he was proper bigging himself up in it. He goes, "Yeah, man, they changed their whole tactics for me."
If he doesn't need a Mixed Grill after that, then I think we're the ones doing disservice. So you definitely got to respect the confidence.
Yeah, man, definite Mixed Grill winner, man. A Mixie man of the match this week, 100% has to be Trent. Japan, 100%. Alisson.
Like I said, I won't be in the room when that happens. I can't watch it happen, but we'll move on. Happy with the point, and it's been a great sort of return to football, I'd argue, getting a positive result. But now the games come thick and fast, as expected. And we play again this Thursday, the Europa League this time. We've sort of mentioned the Europa League and sort of how much Liverpool, the players have mentioned how much they want to be in it and how much they want to win it. But obviously, the last time we played, we unfortunately lost to Toulouse, and it's putting us in a situation where we do some points to make sure that we go through the group at the top to make life easier. So for that task at hand, playing last this week, do you expect heavy rotation? If so, who do you think is going to be starting for us this week?
I don't think it's going to be heavy rotation. I think La CFC is our chance to get an easy 3 points. Go take the cream off the top and just literally spank them a little bit.
Yeah.
I see Gravenberch starting.
Yeah.
I see Gravenberch starting. I can see
Endo probably
starting
in there as well.
Yeah, I see Endo starting. I can see
as well. I think it'll be sort of a similar lineup to what we expected last time, but I also think they want to get some minutes into legs. I can see Diaz probably getting a few minutes in as well.
Yeah.
Got a rest. I can see Gakpo playing probably, and I can see
playing, yeah.
Maybe, or
Harvey Elliott. Yeah, so it will be changes, but not stupid changes where, well, I hope not, where he's just putting on like the youth team players, 3 or 4 of them. If we see that, then obviously he's got massive confidence in the B team. Well, I'd call them the C team, really, wouldn't you? All the Ben Dokes and them lot. It'd be interesting to see how confident he is with them and whether he just carries on doing what he has been doing. Because to be fair, the Toulouse game was a shit performance, but we weren't far off.
No,
we weren't massively off, but yeah, Toulouse as well, man. I mean, if they get a draw and we get a win, that puts us top, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're top already. We're top already. So
sorry, top guaranteed.
Yeah. I get that. I think definitely. I think it's a matter of getting points on the board, but I think a big thing is what Klopp mentioned is that these teams playing Liverpool is like Champions League finals to them, and I think he's kind of realised that now, and that's maybe influenced his decision. Make sure he puts the big guns in because, as we've seen, these teams play out of their skin, and then you're left looking, a bit shaky, nodded when you've got. Like you said, the likes of the C team and youngsters playing. And, I think the last thing he wants is it to be the case of, having to bring the bin guns on to sort of get a win or get the points. Instead, he'd prefer it the other way around, start them, take them off early and give them a bit of a...
Don't you think this is the big difference between like Liverpool and Man City? Man City can put out literally a B team.
Yeah.
And they would annihilate teams the way their first team would. Whereas we put our B team out and we're like just about scraping.
Yeah.
Which is, it shows you the gulf in terms of like the difference between the two teams. But I'd love for him to put out, Gakpo, Harvey Elliott, Gravenberch. Let's get... When's Bacetic back, man? He's pissing me off as well.
Yeah, at this point. I think there's 2 Spanish midfielders taking their time to get back at this point.
Well, Thiago's not coming back till 2027. He's probably coming back as a manager.
Time a new hip, that's why.
Yeah, man. All these players, I want them to be first team regulars. So I want them, when they get their chance to play, I want them to annihilate teams the same way the first team do.
Yeah.
And that'd be good for competition as well. Because at the moment, the so-called first team that we've got, they seem to be doing okay.
Yeah.
Well, better than okay. They are doing good. I mean, we can't knock them. I'm not trying to knock them. They are doing good. But you do want that little bit of bite from behind saying, yo, listen, if you mess up, I'm here ready to take your place.
Yeah.
And you're only going to do that if you play Europa League on a Thursday. The other thing we've got to watch out for is, like I said, this month is the most ridiculous month for fixtures, and injuries are likely to happen. Cold weather, lots of games, injuries. Your season can go from looking like you're top of the league to, struggling to 4th. Oh, we're taking the piss out of Man United. They're only 6 points behind us?
Yeah.
4 points behind top 4? Or 3 points behind top 4? You know what I mean? And this is a team that we're saying are playing absolute crap, but all it takes is a couple of losses and your whole season looks different.
Yeah. And I think looking ahead past the Europa League game and sort of moving on to Fulham now, it's a game where I think these are the fixtures that Liverpool needs to be getting results. If we look at our next 3, we've got Fulham, Sheffield United, and then playing Palace. They're 3 games where coming out with 9 points, I think, is essential. And I think it says a lot about Liverpool. We know in the past, and we know this season already, that they're the games that we can struggle to get results in. And I think that with this Europa League game in mind and knowing how difficult a game against Fulham will be, I think Klopp might have rested a few that he knows he's going to need to call on Sunday. So what for that Fulham game? Obviously, they're playing now. I think they're beating Wolves currently at the moment. But they've had a really up and down season as well, obviously towards the bottom of the table. But even then, it's tight and jam-packed like down there. Like you said, it's at the top in terms of points few and far between. But what have you made of them? Obviously, they've lost a few key players, but they have got a few good results this season. So how do you think it's going to play out?
It's at Anfield, so I always say this: the games that come to Anfield, I'm not too worried about.
Yeah.
Fulham coming to Liverpool should be a straightforward win.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue we got with that is after that we've got 3 away games.
Yeah.
And then the next home game after that is United.
Yeah.
So we've got to take this opportunity now to I don't want to say it like that. We got to win anyway, regardless. We got to try and stay in touch with the top 3. But teams like Fulham, Crystal Palace, Sheffield Wednesday, United, they are teams that you look on paper and think, why are we even discussing this? There should be 3 points in the bag.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the other teams, but that's the level that we're trying to be at.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see anything other than a Liverpool win against Fulham. Sheffield United away. It's a Wednesday evening, isn't it? I suppose it's similar to playing in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Evening game shouldn't be too bad. Crystal Palace is always a dodgy one, man.
Yeah,
I
but
never
they're
feel
struggling at the moment. Yeah,
I never feel comfortable playing them because I always feel like they've got something in the bag. But then again, that was when Zaha and all of them were playing,
and they just lost to Luton this weekend as well.
Yeah. So, like I said, it should be 9 points before we play United,
mm-hmm.
and hopefully we annihilate United again at Anfield.
Yeah,
and
just a big one.
It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one.
It's going to be a good Christmas
present. Look at the date,
well.
Sunday, 17th of December. So it's not far, man. Not far away now.
Not far at all. So we better start mentally preparing for it as well, and maybe
we'll try and get some United fans on, man, for that one.
A few United fans to have a little chat with.
Yeah, man. We'll try and make it. We'll try and make it an extended, conversation
preview.
between.
Definitely.
I'll see if I can get some half decent United fans because they're all in our beds. To be fair,
I'm sure all they want to talk about is Garnacho's goal for the next 10.
Man, you got to give it to him though. You got to give it to him. That was
class. We're not going to entertain it. We're a Liverpool podcast here. We're up on our podcast, and we're not going to be kind to everybody enough. So we'll stick to ours. But it was a goal of the season by a long stretch.
By a long stretch, man. By a long stretch.
What about
I honestly thought Everton were going to come out after their 10-point deduction and just go out there and absolutely.
You can't trust Everton. Everton don't do us any favour, so you got to remember that.
True. But they're slowly creeping up, man. United, it's starting to piss me off.
But let's not wish any more good luck, and hopefully, like you said, 9 points before we play them. I think it might put them off a little bit with the performance. So. This weekend in mind, obviously talks about Alisson could be injured, Kelleher coming in. Is there anyone else you see coming in this weekend and starting against Fulham?
Gravenberch deserves a start, but like I said, I don't know whether he's ready for a full. I think Endo would be a good player to play against Fulham. Traditional number 6. They're going to be like they're not going to be an amazing counter-attacking team. Therefore, I think Endo would suit that kind of game. We need Salah to wake up a little bit. Salah needs to wake up a bit and just start banging in goals because otherwise, before he knows it, Haaland's going to be off with the golden boot again.
Yeah.
If he wants to try and win that, he needs to start banging in a few more. Nunez needs to flip and open his eyes when he shoots.
I was waiting for you to have a go at Nana.
The guy plays with his eyes closed, man. Sometimes he gets lucky. He's like, did I score? But You know what, man? We can't. How can we knock our team, man? You know what I mean? We're top three, a couple of points off the top. You can't knock them, man. But it's just, oh man, I don't know. I used to love watching Liverpool when Klopp first came, man. Even though we were having like 4-3 games and sometimes
Yeah.
losing 4-3, or like coming back from like 3 goals down, it was exciting to watch. At the moment, it's not exciting to watch.
Yeah.
It's not exciting to watch, but we're getting the results.
Yeah.
And you got to weigh up what you want. You want the results of the performance, and you'd go with results all day long.
Mhm.
You go with the results all day long, but it's hard to, the podcast becomes hard to talk about games
It
when they're
does.
a
It
bit
does.
boring to watch.
Yeah. But we've still made the most of it. And a segment that which we always enjoy is our predictions, because we seem to be getting them right at this point, apart from last
We
week.
said draw. Did you say draw last week as well?
Yeah, we did get the result, but I'm sure we did say a draw as well. So
Yeah.
what about this one then? Because anything other than a win might be the worst start to the worst start to December
exactly.
possible. So what you
What
go?
we going with the Leicester FC or Fulham?
We'll go with Fulham. Leave La CFC out of it. I don't even want to
Okay.
think about that one.
Fulham. Okay, let's go. I'll see if Alisson's not in goal. I see him scoring.
Yeah.
I see like a 3-1, 3-1 or 4-1, 3-1 or 4-1. I do see them scoring. I do see them scoring if Alisson's not in goal.
Yeah.
If Alisson's in goal, I'm gonna go 3-0. If he's not in goal, I'll go 4-1.
Okay. Well, I'll cover the bits in between. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 to Liverpool. But I do agree. I think there could be a Fulham goal if Alisson's not in net, and if the defence is their shaky self sometimes. So it could be an interesting one, definitely.
Yeah, Yeah, it should be straightforward, shouldn't it? Or knowing Liverpool, they'll probably score a 95th
Liverpool,
minute.
as we've always said,
1-0.
take the point from the rich, and they'll end up giving it to the poor this weekend. So we never know. We can never guarantee it. But as always, we'll be always here to find out, and hopefully we find out next week with another 3 added to the total. Anil, thank you as always for a wonderful chat, and thank you for manifesting
Pleasure, man. Pleasure
against Man City, because we definitely needed that point, especially with the title race hotting up. And thank you everyone for joining us this week, and we hope you join us next week, where we're not in tears, we're not having a go at Nana, and hopefully Alisson's hamstring has healed. But thank you very much, and we'll see you.
Taking him back from mixed grill.
You just go get the hoodie from the mixed grill and just put it back into Alisson. You sort yourself out there.
That's it, man.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers, man. Cheers, man. See you in a bit.